Hey everybody, hope you're well, and it's James here with a part-time entrepreneur at Crypto Rookies, and today we're going to have a look at the ICO review for ENDO. This is a protocol and they're looking to solve some of the issues in terms of certified information and encrypted storage, and also within that have information swapping services so you can pay for data and stuff. So really interesting. Let's get into the video. I'm feeling So what is the problem that ENDO is trying to fix? Well, the first thing is there is large amounts of data that require storage. Now, if we look at most things in life these days, you know, we don't have the VHS, if anyone even remembers those. We went to DVDs, Blu-rays, and now it's just you download it off iTunes. So how we store data is the whole landscape is changing, and when it comes to documents, this is probably a little behind the times, but it's catching up very quickly. There's also the issue of fake documents. Now, there's some statistics that we'll look at in a bit, but it's absolutely huge. And also these fake documents allow the wrong people to do, move from different countries and do stuff they shouldn't be doing potentially. And also gaining things that they shouldn't be getting as well. There's also the centralized data verification. Obviously, we know decentralized is so much better. You've got issues with hacking because you do have that one centralized place. And the other thing is we're giving a lot of our data away for free. And some of the statistics that I've been looking at recently shows that, in the last 2 years, the amount of data sets that have been collated, 90% of all of the data sets has been collected in that 2-year period. And that's forever, basically. So people are collecting more and more data about you, and the reason for that is because they want to know what you're doing, where you're going, and then how can they sell you some stuff. So some of the key stats, so up to 32% of all students have fake identification. Now, obviously, it's a bit of an issue in the States because obviously their legal age of drinking is a lot higher. I think if you go around most of the parks in Great Britain, they're about 13 or even 12 sometimes, they're drinking cider. I don't know where they get it from, but that's a bit of an issue. Russia, 1 million fake insurance documents, 3 million forged immigrant documents. And I know that's from the US, but statistics in the UK, if you get caught with an illegal immigrant working and they've got fake documents and, whoever it is, import police or whatever, they find these guys, they get charged like 10 or 20 grand as a fine. That could collapse some businesses. US 14 million identity frauds, which is crazy. And this must cause an absolute headache for banks as well. And in the US, you've got 13 million fake passports knocking about, which is just crazy. And I know with some of the stuff Civic, but they are working on some of these things a little bit like ENDO is. So, loads of stuff there. And I think another statistic was 1% of all Gucci handbags or something are actually genuine. The 99% are actually fake. And they do like 7,000 closures a year of factories making this stuff all around the world. So pretty crazy in that sense when you think about all of the fake stuff that's out there. So the other thing I thought to quickly talk about is the data collection cycle, because one of the things that ENDO is trying to do is obviously where you can sell your own data. So I want to give you an example that you probably all can relate to, like something like go shopping at Tesco's, of what happens to that data. Now, when you go and you buy your pizza, your chicken, your soup, your cheese and your bread, and you use your club card, you think, thanks very much, and I get some vouchers. And it seems a very nice little cycle. I buy my shopping, and you give me some vouchers, and they call it the loyalty program. Now, that's a nice way to disguise what they're really doing. Now, what they're really doing is when you're buying all those different items and you use your club card, all of those items are related to you in a data set. It also will measure the time of day, what day you went shopping, and they can build a picture of your shopping habits. And with what you buy, they can also send you different vouchers for maybe related products. So when you come into store, that you will actually buy more and spend more within their store. Now, what is the big thing that happens to that data? So all of that data goes into a database, and with Tesco's, it goes into something called dunnhumby. You've got the price and promotions, and they look at all the different fluctuations. So on which days products launched, how well they did. So they use it to shape their business. However, what they also do is they take that data, they package it up, and they sell it back to the big brands. Now, the big brands want the data because they want to see, one, how the competitors are performing, how they're performing, on what days and times are their products mostly sold, and then they can talk about things like shopper missions, and it gets very deep into what I call the category management side there. But Tesco's reward you a little bit for the data, then take that data and flog it back to all the brands. So I've looked at some of the numbers, and it tells me that, you know, it's worth about $3 billion, which is about 79 million transactions per week, which actually would give you $37.97 back per year. So you would get that. Obviously, you're getting your vouchers and all the rest of it, and they try and reward you, keep you sweet. But actually, you can earn money, and that's just from going shopping at Tesco. Now, you imagine you go shopping at Asda, Sainsbury's, Morrison's, all the others, and you add that up. Actually, you got a nice little tidy pot. Then you add up, I go shopping at here, and all different places, and you know the amount of times that you give other bits of data away, when naturally you could be selling it, it's actually worth a couple of quid. So hopefully that just explains, gives you a little bit, probably a bit more in depth than I would normally do, but I just wanted to give you a bit of an idea of how the data collection cycle works, because generally you will see the first slide of I go shopping, they get my points, and I get some rewards, and you think nothing of it, but this is what happens in the background. And this is why ENDO are going into this market, because the personal data market is worth absolutely billions, and obviously the storage of that data is the next thing, and these guys are going to be able to do it in an encrypted way. One thing I didn't mention was that when you looked at that model before where, you know, Tesco's was selling the data to the brands, now the brands have paid millions and millions of pounds for that, and they then add that onto the prices of their products, and then you then have to pay for that. So you end up having to pay for giving your data away. So these guys are really shifting up the model. So what is the solution that ENDO are putting on the table? So they're creating a single, secure, certified environment for you can store and also transact your documents so people can buy your data. It's going to be controlled storage as well. So you're going to be able to store it on different blockchains and do lots of cool stuff as well. It's also going to stop the fake documents because it's going to be certified by the blockchain, and we know that this will, you know, is the perfect solution in terms of quantifying if something is real or not. Again, it's going to, you know, if you think about all the documents that need to be stored, like music, DVDs, they're a thing of the past now. Everything is stored on the cloud or wherever you keep it. And same with data, basically. It's all going to be on these decentralized databases. And also, it prevents any form of hacking as well. So the one thing that stuck out for me was actually the use cases. So they've got loads, and that's what you're looking for. You're looking for something what I call expandable, that isn't focused. A lot of ICOs are focused in a certain area or niche, and it requires mass adoption within that niche for it to go big. This only requires adoption in one of many areas, and ENDO can become big. So you've got things like licensing of firearms, you've got storage of documents like driving license, maybe your educational certificates as well, birth certificates. You've also got legal documents, you know, and you can also include in here sort of medical documents, and anything of that sort. You've also got real estate, and other things with like governments will be like visas and embassies as well, so they'll be able to use it for those type of documents. So it's got a really varied use case. So what are some of the key USPs for this project? Well, first of all, it's already being used by some Russian companies. I believe they're uploading roughly around 7,000 documents a month, so that's a good live use case there. They've got a minimal viable product live on the testnet. They're looking at a lot of stuff in KYC development, because obviously that is huge going forward, sort of verifying who you are. And then the business-to-business document verification piece is quite huge as well, because more and more of the businesses they're online businesses, they're through the internet. And also you can control the fraud risks there, because, you know, through the verification, they'll be sort of automatically reading the data and verifying it there on the spot via the blockchain. And again, you've got things like ENDO review, where, you know, people won't be able to remove any sort of form of bad feedback, so you'll be able to see the full and truthful picture. So another really cool USP is these guys are launching something called the ENDO Legacy app. Now, they're able to do this because they're based on their own blockchain protocol, which they're going to use that to be able to verify goods, so if it's genuine or if it's not. These wireframes will just give you a bit of an idea of what that looks like. It's got something called a Hermes bag, I haven't a clue what one of these are. I'm sure the ladies out there definitely know what one of these are. And guys, if you don't get them one with all your Bitcoin, you might lose them. I'm only joking. But let's keep it real. Let's keep it to a Rolex because I know what one of them is. So what they're going to be able to do is they're going to be able to check by scanning a QR code which is unique to that particular product if it's going to be genuine or fake. Now I was thinking, well, why you could just copy that and then someone else could use it, but apparently, and they're going to be using an algorithm for dynamic protection for all the code so they can't be copied. So how does it all work? So very quickly, it's broken down into 5 layers. The first one is the blockchain and the storage. So information is stored in different repositories. So there is decentralized and centralized here. You've also got the protocol that obviously is defining the rules for the ecosystem. The platform itself, which is decentralized and will control all the circulation of the tokens. So then you've got applications, and these are platform-based applications that were developed for users and businesses, which is pretty cool. So you've got those 2 elements there. Then you've got APIs, obviously the open interface for creating applications and obviously automating all of the business logic. So those 5 layers together make up what it all looks like. So on the left hand side, you can log into your ENDO account. Obviously, you'd be looking to store your documents. So very simply, you would store them on either the blockchain or other form of storage is there. Now, from the platform, there's a couple of things that can happen. So first of all, you can stake your tokens on the ENDO platform. You can obviously sell your data. And obviously, if you're a business, you'll be able to pay for data there. And obviously you can use the ENDO platform to confirm things like KYC, to, I don't know, if you want to get in an ICO, whatever it is, or different elements as well. Say that you are who you are because all of your documents are saved here, and they'll be able to verify that. It also will track all payments as well, so what you've been paid, and loads of data and hashing will happen there as well. So you've got IPFS storage, which is the decentralized section, which is basically the peer-to-peer hypermedia protocol. It is a lot faster. And you've also got the centralized option here where you could go something like more commonly Dropbox, Google Drive that a lot of people are using now. So then we've got the EToken, and the EToken is used for the verification of fees between users on the system. And that's if you're sharing it with third parties or you're putting it onto another blockchain. So we can see a quick example here, so we'll just talk through it. So obviously on the left hand side, you've got the ENDO platform via App A node, and that will pull the data from the secured vault, which we see as storage A. App A node encrypts the data with App B's public keys. The ENDO platform then checks the data as the owner's permission, and that will share the data depending on those steps or reject it potentially. And then it's also time-stamped at this point as well. Then the ENDO platform pushes the encrypted data to App B, and then App B node stores the data on the secured vault. So it's a very simple process. So in terms of the EToken use, this might look very complicated, but it's really simple, and I'll explain why. So you've got organization A, B, and C. They have just basically bought data. All of the commissions go into this C pool that you can see. Now from there, what happens is some will go to the node, some will go to the developers, and obviously back to the who sold the original data basically. So this particular model works on something called DPoS, which is delegated proof of stake. Now this is very different to proof of work, and there's a little bit of trade-off of security versus performance here. Now the way that this works is that the community get to select a number of delegates who will make the decisions on the system basically. Now a good example of where this is used quite well is it really is the backbone of something like BitShares as well, and reading lots of different articles on this, a lot of people do view it as sort of the future format that people will use, because we know proof of work is incredibly expensive in terms of electricity and all the rest of it as well. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have a look at the team, and I've picked out 4 key people. Now with this particular project, I've been following it for some time, and obviously following how it's matured and obviously how the project is developing. And I've got to say they went from quite a young and experienced team to bringing in some fairly heavyweights in a sense. So we're going to have a look at these 4 guys. First one we're going to look at is Gaynor Youngkyu Park. Now this guy's a consulting engineer, and what we do is just skip across to his LinkedIn. So this is Gaynor's profile. Now if most of the people that follow me, you know that I like to look for longevity in people's profiles, and there's a few books out there that you can read, and I'll have to find them and mention them in another video. But there's a massive difference between people that skip around jobs that are only there for 6 months, 18 months, to people that last between 5 and 7 years before they think about moving, or even if they might stay longer. There's a very different mindset, and it also, in terms of success, is very different between these two types of people. That's why I look for longevity. This guy has 18 years in the Korea Institute of Finance Industry Pals Holding. Obviously, he's the CEO there. And that company's been ticking over for some time. Some of the key things that this guy has, no surprise, he's got a PhD in engineering, and he's been consulting for the last 20 years. So he has massive amounts of experience in this area. And he was also chairman of the Korea Franchise Association between 2008 and 2013, which is really just off the bat of when he did his 2006 to 2008 Masters in Business Administration and stuff. So to get that sort of position, you must have some really good influential skills, be a little bit of a heavyweight here to be able to get on a become the chairman or something like that, because they won't just give those sort of positions away. So again, really like this guy's profile, brings a lot of valuable experience to the team. So the next guy we're going to have a look at is Vladislav Ushkin. He's the CMO of ENDO. So we're going to have a quick look at his profile on LinkedIn. So as we can see, he's the Chief Sales and Marketing Officer. Now, what gives him sort of the experience and everything that we're looking for? So he brings quite a few different things to the table. So the first one, he studied at the State Moscow University. So obviously that's quite a big university in Russia. Some of the other cool things that he's done in terms of blockchain is that he was involved with another blockchain project between 2014 and 18. They successfully closed a token sale at $14 million. So I think most people know, there are some crazy projects out there like Telegram that have raised stupid money, but actually 14 million in the normal realms of things is actually a decent amount. Now, some of the other cool things that this guy brings to the table, he's got 5 years managing internet marketing. So it's good for some of their marketing side. And one thing I have seen is that their social media marketing has really jumped in the last few weeks, which is really good to see. And some of the other things is that he's got 10 years experience in active sales in the top 3 banks within Russia. So obviously, some very good experience there. I think this is going to help ENDO in driving it forward, because one of the key things when I started following these guys was actually their social media, but that's gone leaps and bounds in the last couple of weeks. So the next guy we've got is Bruce Porter Jr. He's the Executive Director of American Operations for ENDO. Now, I actually struggled finding his profile on LinkedIn, and the only reason is because he looks dead smart and presentable there, and I didn't quite recognize him here. Looks like a chilled out surfer dude, which is pretty cool. But he is an American entrepreneur. He is a Bitcoin expert. He's an expert in social media, and this leads us to his global Boost business, which he is the CEO of, and that is a blockchain socialized platform. We'll have a quick little look. So this is this website. You can sign in. They do all sorts of things here. But basically, if we go a bit further down, the services are mining, more profitability, communication, SMS, micro blogging, blockchain, internet coming soon. So they're working on, it seems, quite a lot of things. So again, that's been going for 4 years, seems to be very successful, and obviously put him in the limelight in terms of being very influential in the space. The other things that this guy's been is he also runs Emmy Girls. So I thought, oh, that sounds interesting. So I had a quick look at the site. Not the best site in the world. Maybe it's my browser not loading properly, but literally it is just elite models, hiring them out for extraordinary events and bits and pieces. I suppose this sort of business is promotions. I know at work, we do use promotional people for different things, and I'm sure sports and all sorts of things, these guys do a fair bit of business. So I'm sure this is just a little sideline for him. But overall, I think this guy brings a lot of presence and will bring a lot of attention to ENDO just because of how influential this guy is. And he also seems to be a bit of a character as well from some of the videos I've seen of him. Very chirpy and very energetic. So I think he'll be a really good addition to the team. So now we're going to move on to the big dog, which is CEO Jan Pomorski Founder of IT company, the creator of SaaS services, blockchain advisor to the pension fund of Russia. I found quite a few bits on that, so we're going to talk about Jan in quite some detail. So now we'll look at Jan's profile and have a look at the experience in education. So if we go down, we can see education, again, some sort of, I assume a course in Russia, then Webster University in Vienna. So I can see 2011 to 2013. There seems to be a bit of a crossover here between 2013 2014. So maybe was it part of the course? But it looks like it was some form of private education for business administration. Co-founder of Easyware, Take It Easy. So he's very entrepreneurial in terms of what he's been doing. So maybe he's the visionary of the project. He's also worked on a couple of projects here. This is Pipercat, and here this is all about funneling insights. And really Jan's job was to take those insights and turn them into sort of valuable actions. Very much like a category model as such. So very professional website. Pipercat, quite a unique name, shall we say. So let's have a look at the rest of his experience. So the other project I found that he was linked to was something called Focus. Again, couldn't find out too much information on this one. Again, no financial records, but not a big red flag at this moment in time. So obviously now he's the founder of ENDO blockchain protocol. He's probably one of the most experienced people out of the team that I've seen so far, and obviously hopefully he'll be employing more really experienced people to obviously make sure that this project really takes off. So next we'll talk about their social media. Now, I was following these guys for some while, like I said, and their social media at the beginning wasn't fantastic, but it brought quite a few people in, and I've really seen a step change in what they've been doing. Some of the cool things is their Twitter hasn't really gone up, but actually to find their Twitter account actually takes quite a few searches before you can actually get there. And they don't appear in the top sort of search engine bit either on Google. So that takes a little bit of finding. But the key one is their Instagram. It's probably one of the better ones in terms of ICOs that I've seen, in terms of the pictures, the colours. It's just really good how they've approached that. And again, the numbers on that have ticked up loads recently. But it's their Telegram that's really made an impact for me. It's that in the last sort of week or two, it's gone up over 3,000, and it continues to tick up every day I look. It's an extra couple of hundred. So word is out on ENDO. So in terms of the tokenomics, it's a utility token. ENDO is earned for sharing information on the platform. Users are able to stake their coins as well, so there's two ways that you can earn. And organizations need to have the ENDO token to be able to buy and sell data. So there is a need both sides to have first the token, but also to make the ecosystem work. So in terms of their roadmap, they're currently doing the marketing campaign, roadshow, and we're actually into the token sale. So if we move a little bit more forward, if we look at Q3, you've got the testnet launch, the distribution, KYC. If we look at Q4, you've got the mainnet launch, which is one of the big things there. You've got the ERC token, EToken exchange as well, so obviously you'll be able to exchange them on the platform. The scoring mechanism as well, which will be quite key. And then into 2019, the EOS smart contracts integration as well. So, you know, across 2018 to 2020, there seems to be quite a lot going on with these guys. So they've got themselves a growth chart here from obviously 2017 all the way to 2020, because obviously some of their stuff is already in action. It's measured in hashes, but I would like to see this measured in probably millions of dollars to sort of understand how big they think this is. And that would be my only criticism on this section here. So in terms of the very basic ICO details, there's 100 million tokens. The ICO, there'll be 40 million that will be available to the public. They've raised 4.7 million to date. Their marketing hasn't been strong, but they've still managed to raise quite a lot of money. Soft cap 5 million, so they're nearly there already. Hard cap 15 million, and it works out at 37.5 cents per token, and obviously then you minus off your discounts and bits and pieces as you go through, depending on what stage of the ICO that you invest in. On the site, it looks very slick. They've just sent me the new link this morning, and the new site looks absolutely wicked. You can see all the countdown, the discounts, and fortunately at the moment you need to, if I go $2,000, it will say the minimum is 3,500. So up until the 20th of June, you need to at least come in with a $3,500 investment. After that, obviously the discount will drop and you won't have to spend as much to get in as well. So again, you've got 5 days until that happens, but real slick website, really do like it. So what are some of the cons with this project? Well, the first one, I think these guys need a really big breakthrough. I think it's a good idea, but I really do think that somebody somewhere, a business or something has to happen where this is used on maybe by the governments or something that really give these guys the breakthrough and obviously the attention that they really need. The other thing is I could probably see some people copying this. I think it's a really good concept and therefore people, if it's good, people will copy. We've seen that across the whole cryptocurrency world. So potentially we might see some competitors coming in at a later date, but hopefully ENDO will get the foothold in there. The other one is the low social media presence. Now, they have made some leaps and bounds quite recently, but again, it's still quite low at the moment. But I know that they have a plan in place that they're working on to really improve that. Again, this project isn't hyped at this moment in time. It's slowly starting to build, and we see this with some projects sort of out of nowhere. A person will say, oh, this project or whatever, and then it explodes. We may have that, we may not have that, I don't know, but at this moment in time it's not hyped. And the only other one is that there's 60 million tokens kept in-house. I obviously like to see more tokens out with investors rather than sat in-house as such. So those are the cons as I see them at the moment. So let's talk about some of the pros. First of all, this is a perfect fit for blockchain. You know, you can already visualize some of the use cases where this will be used, and that's important because there's so much tosh out there, it's unbelievable. So let's talk about some of the pros. So obviously, this is a perfect fit for blockchain. And in that sense, you know, we've got to move with the times as well a little bit. So this secure digital storage is where we're going. We're already storing stuff on the cloud and lots of different things. However, it's not as secure as we may think. And we know with blockchain, we're going to get that comfort blanket of the security. Now, the other big thing is that they've got huge, broad use cases. Now, I talked about in some of the cons that they need a breakthrough in a industry. I don't care if it's government, if it's just documents, if it's in the workplace. They just need a breakthrough in one industry. They do that, ENDO will be everywhere. And this broad use case really allows them to do that. In a lot of other projects I look at, they're very siloed in terms of they're in a specific niche. And if they don't get mass adoption or any adoption in that niche, they're buggered basically. Where these guys really do have the opportunity where they have a pick of the litter, where they've got many industries that they could touch base with and get some form of really big use cases. Now, the other thing is they've got some partnerships already in place. I think it was something like 7,000 documents are being scanned and stored every single month. So there are projects already in place. Obviously, this will act as testimonials to how well it works and everything else. So there's already little bits and pieces in play already. And like I said, it just takes one big deal, and this could really take off. So overall, really like the project. Think it's, you know, something a little bit different in the space. And again, the team I've been watching the team for a very long time now, and they're consistently putting in place, like I've put a lot of challenges back to them, and they've gone back and they've come back with plans of how they're going to fix them and lots of different things. So they really are taking feedback on board. I'm feeling